or in fact, no, it's going to be 1 minute now to get into the server. We're just on a little bit of a break right here, just waiting for, everyone to join in. We've only got 6 drivers at the moment, but we're expecting a few more as they're slowly starting to connect in. And yeah, they're going to go racing for a 5-minute sprint race. But before that 5-minute sprint race, it's a Super Pole qualifying. Now, the Super Pole qualifying is very important because you need to start as far up the field you can here at South Garda. There's also a hidden element here. There's going to be a lot of bump drafting, I'm sure, as drivers see a benefit of up to 3/10 during a lap, possibly even more if they get it right. If they sit behind the driver, just tail behind them, making sure that they can get that best lap time possible. So we're going to give drivers now roughly 30 seconds until we move into the qualifying phase. And when we're in the qualifying phase, drivers will have to wait for a certain period of time before they leave the pit lane, as we are just going to wait for all the drivers then to go out together. And they got quite a short time there then to set their qualifying laps. So what we're going to do now is we're waiting, and it is 7:01. So we're now moving into the second session, and the pit lane will be closed until 3 minutes. They have to wait in the pit lane for the entire minute. We're expecting no drivers to leave the pit lane. Now, we have imposed big penalties on those drivers that do leave the pit lane. As we see Sai just think about it for now, but no, he's not gonna go out just yet. So this is good. All drivers sticking to the rules here. They've got just 30 seconds and they can start their lap. Some drivers, they start trying to warp their tyres in the pit, and other drivers just sitting AFK waiting. No, we're getting all drivers now driving around in circles. Quite comedic, but it's important for a track like this. You do want to get those tyres as warm as you can. As Pierligio now joins, he was late to the session, but he will be able to qualify. As we now got 15 seconds, and we're expecting the pit lane to open in 10 seconds, and drivers will then be able to start their Super Pole qualifying lap. So we only got 5 seconds to go now. Now, who will be the first at the pit lane? That's the question. As we're now going to get the message on 3 minutes, the pit lane is open and we can now leave. So who will go out first? We see a trailer drivers going out immediately. Who will get the bump? Now, drivers trying to warp their tyres still in the pit lane. They haven't got long to get round. As now we see the first driver out is Soren. Soren will be leading us through to the first lap of this sprint race today. And we've got 2 sprint races for you, 2 5-minute sprint races, that is, including the qualifying. And then we got a B final and an A final. Now, going into this round, Jim Paris is 2-time winner so far in Season 2 of the ACK, and he is followed by Peyton Fricker. Now, Peyton Fricker, is he in this session? Peyton Fricker is not in this session. It is Jim Paris's. No, Jim Paris and the drivers hitting each other on this outlap. Gabe actually goes to the front here, as drivers are still warming their tyres. It's very important they cross the line. We do believe all drivers are on the track, so that's a good thing to see, including Pierligio, as now we see Gabe will be the first driver, not Gabriel Quinter, it's another driver called Gabe. As Jim Paris has only just joined the server. Jim Paris might be late to this. He looks like it's going to be okay. If he leaves the pit lane immediately, Jim Paris is the current championship leader. He needs to leave the pit lane soon. As we see Gabe go round, and Gabe's going around to start his lap. All drivers now starting their lap as we follow around. As Jim Paris has joined too late here. Gabe now coming down the back straight. Jim Paris is still not moving here, and we're going through. Who will be the fastest now? That's the big question here. Jim Paris hasn't got out on track. I know he is going on track, but it looks like it's going to be too late at the moment. You know, it's 7:03 here from Jim Paris, and he's joined in the track, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Oh, he's going to be under investigation for this, I'm sure. It must be so frustrating as we see a little bit of contact at the back. It just like drivers just bump past themselves forward, but we're going to follow Gabe now. So Gabe will be our first driver through, and he will set the first competitive lap time of the session. As he's coming through sort of the hairpins at the back of the track. They're very hard to master. I was out on track myself earlier, and it was quite a hard track to sort of, you have to do a bit of braking, a bit of accelerating. But here comes Gabe. Now, Gabe will be across the line to finish his lap, and it's a 1:05.4. That's a strong lap for a Super Pole from Gabe. And here comes Soren now. Soren setting all the purple sectors here. Soren expected to take the lead, and Soren does take the lead, followed by Adam Sherpitt. Adam Sherpitt, 3/10 down. As coming across the line now, Gabe Foss third, Pierligio to third. And now, Harry Power goes to fifth. As we now fall, Diogo Rivo. Diogo missed the last round, so he'll be keen now to score good points here. And Jim Paris doesn't look like he's going to be able to set a lap time, I would say, at the moment. But we'll have to find out. As we now go across the line. And there's only one driver here we're waiting for. It's Jim Paris. As we're waiting, and we're going to have to... Time is cutting short here. And we're just investigating something, Zach. Just investigating if a driver can't join, as we saw Jim Parsons also have some issues in his thing. Just have a look here. And yes, this is correct. There has been an issue, it looks like, on the qualifying. And it looks like... So we're just investigating an issue here, here at ACK, as there seems to have been an issue in the qualifying. And I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go for a restart, possibly, at the moment. We're just investigating this. We might have to go to a quick, short break here, because my team are shouting at me in the background, and I can't do the commentary and talk about this at the same time. So if we just quickly cut to a break, and we will be back momentarily. Thank you. Hello everybody and welcome back once again. Now we had an issue just moments ago in the ACK. Now, you know, when we're working with a game that we don't exactly make, I would say, we always run into issues with these sort of things, and unfortunately today was one of those issues once again, and we had great targets to fill with timings, but it seems like multiple drivers couldn't join the server, which is unfortunate, absolutely. But it's just one of those things. So, you know, we're back in the qualifying. Everyone's going to have the same chance, and we're going to go again now. You know, it's uncontrollable for us as a team, because, you know, we want, of course, to everybody to have a fair shot, and then sometimes they won't have that fair shot. So, you know, we're back where we are now in square one. Everybody gets another chance. Now, fantastic lap from Soren, but he can do that again, absolutely. Some drivers will be frustrated with that, you know. But we do encourage all drivers to have a fair chance, at least at the race. We saw Jim Parsons as well have the same issues in qualifying earlier. So, you know, looking at that, it was smart to do the restart. Some people won't agree with it, some people will, but we're here now and we're racing. That's the most important thing. So, we're just waiting now. It's 30 seconds until now the official qualifying of the ACK, the first round here at South Garda. Now, you know, we're looking towards the drivers in this group. You know, Jim Parsons will be up there, we're expecting, but Soren has been really fast, I'd say, the whole time, and we're expecting a really good duel at the front. But like I said earlier, the most important thing about these races is you can slipstream off other drivers, and when you slipstream, there's a potential that you're able to just get a faster lap time as the pit lane just opens. So who's going out? All the drivers are out now. This is now the official qualifying. And they're all going out. Who's going to go together? Are they going to be drivers working together in that order? We don't see it at the front at the moment. Soren is the first out there, the Danish driver, as he is flying off to the distance there. As we're seeing Jim Paris has followed Soren behind. Now, will he slow down? Which one of these two drivers will want to go ahead? Jim Paris is sort of sitting behind Soren there, hoping he goes with him, as the drivers have broken out into a little pack. We're still waiting on one or two drivers to leave the pit lane. Saeed Hassan being one of those drivers. Now, he does look like he was moving a second ago, and he's not moving at the moment, so Saeed Hassan does need to get on with it, as we're starting to see Soren now come in the last corner. Soren looks like he's going to be the driver to start lap. Adam Sherpin, though, following Jim Paris, and Jim Paris has fallen off there, Soren. Is he going to get the benefit of the slipstream? I'm not sure. Saeed Hassan does leave the pit lane now, though, and there's only one driver in the pit lane, and if he doesn't leave, he's going to have an issue. We're just trying to find out who that driver is, and it seems to be, at the moment, I'm not sure. I think we're okay. All drivers are out. So here we go. This is it. This is the qualifier. As we come around, Soren is being followed by Jim Paris and Adam Sherpin. Then Gabe in fourth. Gabe, surely, with the top three in the championship in your race, these are the best drivers to be following at the moment. Seb, one of the drivers who was experiencing issues behind them as well. George Iliev, Pierre-Eligio de Santis gone out on his own with Harry Power following, Diogo Rivo on his own, Mate Shepard on his own, followed by Saeed Hassan as the last driver. Now, we're coming through the S section of this track. Fantastic looking section of the track as well. The curbs have been cleaned up. We have to say thank you to the ACK crew for cleaning up this track. There's a lot of issues with the curbs in the run up to this event, but we it's looking good now, and they're very flat, saying testing. Quite a wide apex there from Soren, but he's going to come around now to finish the lap. So, will this be good enough for pole? We're not seeing any purple sectors at the moment. We can't see any. So, it's going to be a guessing game for who's going to pole. Soren now goes to the top, obviously, followed by Jim Paris. Jim Paris goes to second. Adam Sherpin to third. So Soren going first worked. As Sam goes to third. Adam Sherpin drops to fourth. Gabe drops to fifth. Here. Now we're waiting on George Iliev. George Iliev now, the sixth driver across the line. Where will he slot into this? And he goes fifth. He drops Gabe to sixth. As we now see Pierre-Eligio de Sante, a top 5 driver in the championship. Will he cross the line? Where's he going to go? He stays sixth from Pierre-Eligio. Very slow from him. And more drivers come through, and they're not improving. It was better to go early. We're waiting for 2 more drivers here. 3 more drivers. Diogo Rivo. Diogo Rivo goes to fourth. Fantastic from him. Mate Sheplo. Sheplo now, one of the last drivers across the line. Sheplo, he's going to cross the line here. And he goes 9th. And we're now Saeed Hassan. Saeed Hassan. Yeah, and he goes across the line. Last driver. Saeed Hassan only 10th. So, looking at your top order, we got Soren in first with a 1:04.392. Closely followed by Jim Paris and Seb. Diogo Rivo in fourth, as we're now going to move into the 5-minute sprint race immediately, and there's only a 30-second countdown as well. But yeah, your order at the moment is Soren in first, Jim Paris is second, Seb Cray in third, Diogo Rivo in fourth, with Adam Sherpin. Now Adam Sherpin will be disappointed being in 5th place, but he will make his way up the order, I'm sure. George Iliev 6th, Pierre-Eligio, now that's very frustrating for Pierre, and he might not make the A final at the moment with that position. As we see Gabe in 8th, Mate Sheplo in 9th, Saeed Hassan 10th, and finally Harry Power in 11th. But here we go, 6 red lights, and the first sprint race of the evening will start. Who will get the better start as we go off into the distance? And Jim Paris looks like he gets the better start. Is he going to edge forward? Yes, he does, and he takes the lead here from Soren. Soren with the slower reaction times, clearly. As Jim Paris is now, will he defend to the first corners? He doesn't quite defend there. They're working together. We're seeing no contact at the moment. Fantastic bit of racing. There's a bit of grass action there and a bit of contact at the back. It looks like Pierre-Eligio getting stuck in there as Soren takes the lead once again. But Jim Paris keeps his nose in, and it's fantastic racing down the back straight here. Who will benefit? Soren takes the lead, in fact, I would say. Jim Paris is now into second as Diogo Rivo goes with him and follows them. Fantastic bit of racing there as we head down, and Soren does defend. You've got to defend on this track. It's only a 5-minute race, and you've got to decide if you want to fight or you want to work together, which at the moment they're choosing to fight. Fantastic to see, though, as we see all Harry Powers made a lot of positions for. Mate Sheplo's the driver that's dropped back to last, as we see a bit of contact there. It's so Jim Paris has done load onto the grass there. He'd be frustrated with that one. As we see, he goes through. Dennis Olgamoidis into second. Jim Paris is loading Soren onto the grass there and had to give the position back. And unfortunately, because of that, Sem took second. Fantastic to see. As Soren now leading through the fast-flowing right-hander section as we're seeing Soren now defend. He's defending down the back straight. Fantastic to see. And it's going to bring all the drivers behind back into it. These spots in the A final are massively up for grabs here as Soren does defend hard into the next corner. And he tries to go around the outside, Sem here. He doesn't. Oh, we're seeing a great battle here for first. As they now go down the back straight, and Jim Paris has to work for it. This is probably the first time Jim Paris has to work this hard in the championship so far. As Soren stays in the lead. He's staying in the lead for an entire lap now. As they come through to the S section, and a bit of contact there, but it does work out. But Soren is just parking it on the inside. A lot of British drivers would call that white lining. So he's white lining the corners. It's fantastic to see. And at the moment, Gabe is now chasing up. Gabe, after a disappointing qualifying, to the 4th place. And they're coming through, and Soren just holding that inside line. Jim Paris doesn't go for the overtake, and now we're going down the back stretch. Sam Cry trying to look for that lead, and he doesn't get it at the moment. He just can't put his car anywhere that Soren can. As they come down the back stretch, and there's enough for Sam. There's a bit of contact there, but he's down the inside, and Soren takes it. There's a lot of contact there. Will Jim Paris come for that? He doesn't quite. Jim Paris does go down the inside, though, and it's a 3-wide battle down the back straight as we're coming through. And who's in the lead? It's Jim Paris. Jim Paris does take the lead. He benefits from that battling. And you would expect it at the moment because they were hitting each other towards the end of the track there. Jim Paris is down the inside. And now Jim Paris is defending. They can't get away from each other here at breakaway top 3. But Gabe, even in open air, he's not catching his top 3. So they're still driving fast enough. Now, will Jim Paris get the breakaway he needs? We will see a lot of different strategies, I think, in this A and B farm. So down the inside goes Sam. Fantastic dive there. Will he make it stick? He doesn't quite. Jim Paris does actually benefit from that. As we see Soren now. Soren stuck in 3rd. Can't get past Sam now. Gone from the lead and just 1 lap ago. As now Jim Paris is down the back stretch. We're going to see drivers now start to make their way back up with this bump draft. And look at that, straight on the back from there, Sam. Jim Paris is defending to the inside. You almost don't want to be leading this race until the last couple of corners. As they come down the back stretch, and now Sam takes the lead. And is he taking the lead? Yes, he doesn't. Soren, I guess, will go through that. Yes. It's a very close race here as they go defending down the back straight. As I said before, we're going to see all sorts of strategies in this last race. There's going to be drivers pitting early and late just to get away from each other. Because look at this in the moment. They can't get away from each other. There's no way to break away because if you're in the lead, you are just being caught by the draft all the time. As they now come down the back stretch. Now through the S section, Gabe is getting closer, but not close enough. It looks like we're going to get one more lap of racing here. Seb now goes to the inside, and we're seeing another dive here from, what is that? That looks like Soren to me. Soren now goes through. Yes, that is Soren. Soren now into the lead. Who will start on the front row for the A final? That's the question. Currently, the fastest lap is going to Jim Paris. No, in fact, Gabe has the fastest lap. Now, Gabe in open air, he has the fastest lap, which doesn't count for much, really. I would say, ooh, there's a lot of contact there. And he gets put to the grass and put back Soren there. Jim Paris is through into the lead on this last lap. Now, this is where it's important. Jim Paris is leading on the last lap of the race. So can he get to that front row? It might be very important for the races. Now they're back to a battle. And Sem goes to the outside on his own. Gabe goes to 3rd now. Fantastic to see. Now Gabe, with the fastest lap, surely could secure himself a front 3 start. As we come through onto the last lap, and the order has broken away a little bit now. Let's look back down the order a little bit. We've got Martin Sheplow, unfortunately, in last, with Adam Sherpa now. He's dropped to 10th. Adam Sherpa had an issue there somewhere, and he'll have to fight his way back for the B final. Saeed Hassan has made his way up to 9th, with George Iliev in 8th, Diogo Rivo in 7th, Harry Power, a fantastic 6th from last. Now that is a fantastic move up the order there from Harry Power, as Pierre Ligeot saved his A final spot with a 5th. But as they come across the line now, Jim Paris says, what can we say? He takes 3 points from his first sprint race. He had to work for it, though, as Soren comes through in 2nd, scoring 2 championship points. And in 3rd goes Seb. Gabe, fantastic 4th from Gabe. He does deserve a great result. I know he was frustrated about the initial qualifying, but he got what he wanted, a spot in the A final. Pierre Ligeot in 5th, with Harry Power 6th. Diego Riva 7th, with George Iliev 8th. Adam Sherpa only finishing 9th. Now, he will be a hot contestant for that spot, getting through the B final to the A final, so don't give up there. Followed by Mate Sheplow, and unfortunately, Saeed Hassan in 10th, in 11th even. So, what a first race, I'd say there, but we've still got one sprint race to go to decide who will make it to the front of the A final. So, we'll be back in just a few minutes with Split 2. Welcome back, everybody. We're here for Sprint Race 2 now of the sessions. Now, this is exciting. We saw Jim Paris in that last race have to work for the win here today, and we think that's going to continue into the second sprint race. But we have Peyton Fricker in the sprint race, the man we're going to be watching throughout this entire race. He will be the one. He was topping practice sessions, which is fantastic to see. But, you know, we're expecting, you know, he's not going to break away here unless he gets a lot of luck, I would say. You know, we saw the drivers fighting in the end, which eventually led him to get away, but he had to work for Jim Paris's, and his lap time was a 1:04.114. So that's what we're watching out for here as we go. But we're now waiting for that 3 minutes once again. There's an issue with this track that, once again, you know, we here at ACK we can't control, but the drivers do actually start halfway through the lap because of the pit lane placement, and if they left the pit lane before a certain time, they actually would set a lap time that is not representative of a real lap time for this track. But the pit lane is open now, so drivers will be leaving. Now you want to be first across the line, and Soren has proved that being first across the line, you can still start pole position. As all the drivers now are racing out, they're going 4 wide. They want qualifying orders. Nico Titch is the first driver. Looks like he's going to be crossing the line here. Dennis Oikomoitis, and there's a bit of contact there even. They're trying to fight to get position here. Interesting to see. Well, Matteo, don't be too down because you can qualify first from anywhere at the moment, as proven. So, as they come through, will any drivers come off? We have heard from Jarne Lemons. He has decided to work with Baptista van der Breggen for the qualifying, which isn't against the rules. You know, some people will report that drivers working together in qualifying. There's nothing in the rule book that says they can't do that, unfortunately. So it's an interesting tactic and it's good coordination, but we can't control that here at ACK, at least in the stewards room. So Nico Titch will lead us through these laps. We will follow laps as they come through. All drivers out on track, which is fantastic to see as we now follow through. So Nico Titch will cross the first sector, and of course we'll go purple, but we're going to wait for the rest of the drivers to see where they finish. As all drivers are about to start their lap, the last driver across the line will be Andreas Lanzardis, from what I can see here. But now we're following Nico Titch, the fastest through the first sector, Baptista van der Breggen, his first race in the championship this season, but he was a popular name in season 1, coming very close to winning multiple times. Danny Chu, funny enough, with the fastest last sector, but he has to do it on his qualifying lap now. As we see Peyton Fricker going fastest in the first sector now. Peyton Fricker by a 10th. Nico Titch, of course, going purple in the second sector, so we're waiting for all the drivers to come through. And we've seen a purple from Baptista van der Breggen, but we're still waiting for Peyton Fricker. As now Peyton Fricker will take that second sector time, and he will go purple. Peyton Fricker with 2 purples, but now we'll follow Nico Titch. Nico Titch will be first across the line. What will he set? A good lap time in the 1:04s, yes, 1:04.789. Fantastic to see as they're all coming across the lane now. Baptista goes to pole. Baptista, Jan Lemons the second with the fastest third sector. We're waiting for Peyton Fricker now. Peyton Fricker's the next driver across the line. Peyton Fricker goes to the top with a 1:04.4. Almost unbeatable. Fantastic lap time from him there. As we see, Matteo goes to 5th. Dennis Oikomoitis to 6th here. Powell Jr. to 7th. Pallinger. We're seeing Zach now. Zach goes 8th. David Roger drops down to 9th. Unlucky to see as we're waiting for one more driver, and that's Andreas Lazardis. Goes to 9th. Fantastic on his ACK debut. And that's all the laps done. And Peyton Fricker is the driver that takes the pole position. And what a fantastic lap as well. As we see now, it's just 30 seconds to the race. Peyton Fricker is the pole sitter, followed by Baptista van der Breggen. We've got Jarne Lemons in 3rd, Nico Titch in 4th, Matteo Infanti in 5th, Dennis Oikomoitis in 6th, Pallinger in 7th, Zach in 8th. Fantastic from Zach to see there. He has a shot at the 8th final with a good result. Andreas Lanzardis is in 9th with David Roger. In fact, we've just seen there 2 drivers, in fact, 2, 3 drivers, 4 drivers have an issue and have had a penalty even because they've jump-started. Drivers, you have to feel for those sort of things. But now we're going to follow anyway. As Peyton Fricker now is the driver that leads us away. We're just following. There's 3 drivers behind now that have actually been relegated to the pit lane, but they can race each other. There will be a lap down, but they have to race. And we see a lot of contact at the back there. Oh, there's a lot of contact. Just trying to work out who it is. But we see, oh no, well, that's Peyton Fricker. Peyton Fricker's now been hit off. And he's dropped down the order. Oh, that is frustrating. No, there's all sorts of contact on here. There's all sorts of drivers coming out. We're seeing drivers come for the pit lane. There's had penalties. Now, Jan Lemons, there has to be an investigation to that. I have to go see what happened there. I'm struggling to see what happened. I'm just trying to rewind back myself. It looks like to me Looks like Baptiste van der Breggen locked up and hit into Peyton Fricker. That's what I'm seeing from this. Yes, it looks like I thought Jan Lemons actually hit it, but it was actually Baptiste van der Breggen locking up and going into the back of him from what I can see. But our drivers just, that's really frustrating to see now. Peyton Fricker has dropped to 7th, but he's in a good shot there at the moment. That is unfortunate. I'm just trying to take to that. Anyway, let's follow back to the lead. Jan Lemons is in the lead, and he's being chased down by Matteo Infante and Nico Titch as they come round the first section of the track. I'm just watching it back again. Yes, it looks like Baptista did lock up and then sort of just go into the back of Peyton Fricker. Oh, Nico Titch there. Surely that was a risky move, I would say, from him. But it looks like he got through, as we're seeing lots of fighting in the midfield as well. We've got the Scottish driver, Ricky, there, fighting up towards his A-final. It's Peyton Fricker, in fact, now up to 5th. Now, Peyton Fricker, and he does drop down slightly order. He's got to try get his way past these drivers and down the road. But it looks like Peyton Fricker's not as down the order as we thought it would be, as we see Minisham Zach in 4th position. Oh, Peyton Fricker, bit of driving here, I would say. David Roger did put him off the track, and now he's put him off the track. There's all sorts of content going on. This week, Dennis Okamoitis on the grass there, doing the mowing, I would say. We're seeing all sorts of racing in this second one, and I don't know where to commentate, as Baptiste van der Breggen actually did come off worse than Peyton Fricker. He dropped down to 8th after that first lap, as Peyton Fricker now is in 6th position. So he's safe at the moment for an A final, but it's not going to be where he wants to be. It was such a great qualifying lap that I would say, very disappointed. He's down the order as well. I'm seeing Minisham now slowly move down the order as a good little move there from Ricky, but Zach does fall off the track there, so it's like, well, we're going to say Zach instead of Minisham because we're saying two different people's names. But Peyton Fricker now, up to 4th, and you want to get excited for that, but he started pole position and he did get taken out, so I'm happy to see Peyton Fricker up the order, but he will be, I'm sure, frustrated. But starting 7th or 8th for the A final is a great option as well, I would say. As we see a breakaway top 3, not quite the fighting we saw in the first race, and Peyton Fricker's off the track again there. Peyton Fricker is off the track and he's back into the group now. As Baptiste van der Breggen, the driver that Richie took out, Peyton Fricker is in front now. They really want to try and get through this. That was a big mistake there from Peyton Fricker. He didn't have to risk it. It's a big breakaway top 3 here, and the odds of catching them in the space of 2 laps is pretty low, I would say. So quite a frustrating mistake there from Peyton Fricker. Once again, he shouldn't be in that position. But, as we go back to lead here, it looks like the drivers now, we see a move by Matteo, but he doesn't quite, he locks up badly, and the top 3 do slightly thin out. Now, in doing this, it looks like these 3 drivers will be making the A final. As we join back the action here, as we see lots of contact. Peyton Fricker now clearly getting frustrated, as Ricky does overshoot the corner, and Peyton Fricker's going to get better bit of exit speed out of here. But Peyton Fricker now is in the risk of being in the B final, which once again, you'd be confident that he has the pace, including the pit stops, to make it to that A final. So you won't be too worried, I'm sure. But some interesting mistakes here, I would say, as all the drivers on the grass, and there's lots of contact there. David Roger onto spun out. Is he going to get caught now? He does get overtaken by Zach Minisham. Zach Minisham now into an A final spot, I'm sure. As they come around, Peyton Fricker now up to 5th. All sorts of racing here. I'm not even sure where to commentate at the moment, but we're following this. It looks good at the moment. Now let's follow the fastest lap. Jan Lemons needs more time if he's going to start pole position for this race, but you'd have to question, does it matter? Because the drivers are just towing off each other. But at the moment, Jim Paris will be the pole sitter for the 2nd race in a row, the 3rd race actually of the season, as he did not start pole in the 2nd round. He started 2nd place, I believe. But we're now following Jan Lemons. He is on the last lap. Now, Jan Lemons, he came into this race, he thought he couldn't win it. In fact, Nico Titch could go for a last-minute dive here, but Jan Lemons told me he had no chance of winning this race today. But he looks like he could be starting on the front row, and surely he's got to defend now. Yes, he is defending. Surely Nico Titch doesn't want to risk this. He's starting 4th on the grid as a bare minimum at the moment, starting in 2nd, but he wants to go for that lead. And yes, he does. He tries to go to the switchback, doesn't quite work out. Good racing here so far, but it's going to be a duel to line here, I'm sure. As Jan Lemons, yes, it does look like Jan Lemons will take the lead here, and he takes the win. Followed by Nico Titch in 2nd place, starting on the 2nd row. Matteo Infantini on his return to ACK, starting either 5th or 6th for the final. Baptiste van der Breggen might be under investigation, but does finish 4th as Peyton Fricker finishes 5th and will make that A final. Destin Oikomoidis from nowhere, you would say. up the order. Just waiting for our sixth place finish here because we're not quite sure on screen because they're all coming across the screen at the same time. But it looks like Dennis was yes, Dennis finished it. Zach Minisher might make the A final with that 7th, as Simon Gobert, a fantastic 8th on his ACK debut. David Rogers spinning out in that last race. Danny Chu, Andreas Lazardis in 10th, and Pallinger in 11th, with Ricky finishing 12th. Now, Ricky looks like he had an issue clearly in that race, so we'll have to see what happened to him there. But wow, what a race I would say there. There was so much going on both ends of the grid. So we're going to go away. We're going to look to make the grids for the B and A final, and we'll be back for even more racing action. This time with pit stops, so the racing should be a bit more balanced. Just in a few minutes. So stay with us. Hello, everybody. Welcome back for the B final. Little bit of a break, but we got the grid sorted, and this is now a 20-minute race with the top 2 drivers making it to that important A final where you score the real championship points. But you never discredit the B final. Don't forget the drivers in this get 2 pit stops. They call it pit stops, 2 joker laps where they have to come to a complete stop in the pit lane. Now, if they've all read the briefing notes, they will know they have to come to a complete stop in that pit lane, and drivers who just come to a little bit of a stop but don't quite, they will be penalised. But we are waiting now, only 30 seconds of this race. We got Diogo Rivo, who is on pole, followed by Simon Gobert. Now, Simon Gobert, a late entrant to the series. He's actually the last person to enter onto this round, and you know, he's quite far up the order, I would say, for his ACK debut. It's definitely a debut. Talking to him a little bit, you know, he's quite new to the series, so he'll be very new competition sitting at the front of this B final. I think he'll be happy so far with that result, as George Iliev in third. We see Zach Minisham not quite making A final fourth, but Adam Sherpin in fifth. That's the one we're watching as the race now starts. No jump starts. That's fantastic to see. Much better this time for everybody, as now we go hurdling towards the first set of corners. As we see now, it looks like we do see Simon Gobert is going to be the one to take the lead, but it goes back to side. Diogo Rivo tries to take back the lead immediately. No, Simon Gobert, though, does take the lead as we go through. This is where the contact happens, and we're seeing a little bit of few drivers on the grass here, but they do survive to the most part, as we now see drivers defend the physical. Oh, that's a massive dive bomb there. Ow, almost diabolical dive bomb. I think, who was that? Looks like, no, Simon Gobert has to survive that. Just trying to work out who. And I'm not sure who that was, but that was a bad move. That was a very bad move. So, unfortunately, 2 drivers there dropped down the order, but we're seeing now Adam Sherpit from 5th position. He will be definitely counting his luck there, as he's moved from 5th to 1st in just half a lap. And we see another driver, that's Saeed Hassan now. He's spun round. Oh no, not for the 2nd race in a row. Saeed Hassan has to make his way up. As we see now, it looks like it's Zach now that's affected Danny Chu there, and that's Mate Sheplo, so he has drivers to race against. Now, drivers can pit at any point during these laps. That's the important thing. So, will drivers go early? I'm not sure at the moment what they will do. But as we see, now Diogo Rivo going across the line. Diogo Rivo is defending slightly from Ricky. Now, they need to work together, you would say, in this phase. Adam Sherpin, though, has had the cleanest of starts. He is being followed slowly by David Roger. Now, these 2 drivers, they could go to the A final together. That's the important thing. Do they just work together, get to that A final, and that's where you score the real points? Maybe fight then as the next place, as George Iliev now is coming through with what seems to be Simon Gobert. Simon Gobert survived that race that pretty well. I need to re-watch replay and see who took that dive bomb, because that was a crazy dive bomb, I would say. I need to see it again. Just looking back at it now, just going back to our highlights right here, and I would say it looks like, to me, Diogo Rivo was just loaded by George Iliev. Yes, from what I can see. So Simon Gobert did survive that really well, but from what I can see there, it looks like he was loaded into him. And let's follow the action actually live here. As David Roger goes for the overtake, he does take the lead on Adam Sherpin. So the 2 leaders are fighting. Adam Sherpin does retake the lead here though. And the 2 leaders are fighting here. Now, interesting thing really, because, you know, at the moment, looking at the gaps, and as long as they keep their strategy well, they will be in that A final. So, you know, it's interesting to see the fighting, I would say, at the moment, as they come round. Adam Sherpin now is the leader, and he's going with David Roger. Shortly, David Roger is listening to this, and he says, right, well, you know what? I'll go with Adam Sherpin. We can fight in that A final. Who knows? As we see lots of contact there, Saeed Hassan has come to a full stop. Gets overtaken on the outside by Andres Lanzares, another driver who is on their debut. And we're seeing fighting all through the pack. It's fantastic to see, as Zach looks like he was defending there from Mate Sheplo. Adam Sherpin now, and David Roger looks like he has calmed down a little bit. But as they come around that final corner, Danny, who we're looking for in third? Looks like George Iliev is third. As they come down that straight, there's a driver there in third. I'm not sure if he's on the same lap as the other drivers. Will we see now an overtake for the lead? Adam Sherpin does close off David Roger slightly. It's very bumpy on this track, and they need to be careful, as Adam Sherpin does close off, but, you know, David Roger went almost flying. They almost took each other out. Now, could you imagine a situation where they take each other out and George Iliev gets up into this fight? I'm not sure, to be honest with you, why they're fighting, but now there's a big gap between the 2 drivers, so now surely they will calm down ever so slightly in this race. As we we're already 5 minutes through this race. Now we're going to go back through the order a little bit. It's Andreas Lanzadas now again fighting with Saeed Hassan. Saeed Hassan goes for dive down inside. They give good space there, absolutely. Fantastic to see as we see Zach goes into the pit lane. Zach goes in for his Joker stop. Where will he come out now, coming through that? Will Zach come to a complete stop? Will he have read the notes? As he comes to a stop, now it looks good and he can drive. And he doesn't see through drive. It looks like he spun in the pit lane there slightly. He hit the brakes too hard. But quite a slow stop there from Zach. He'd be frustrated by that, and he stays within the lines. In fact, he does take the wide line. He's allowed to do that. We would say it is allowed. But now this is going to be a very important section of the race now. The strategy. Now Zach is out on his own. He can do laps on his own. As we see a slow exit there from Simon Gober, as he's going to fall away ever so slightly from Diogo Rivo. Now, will he decide to go for a pit stop here? He hasn't. He's falling out of that toe of Diogo Rivo. Once you fall out the toe, is it worth just pitting, seeing where you come out, and seeing if you can put in the good, consistent laps? And he chooses to stay out. A lot of drivers here going quite late out at the moment. The only driver who's really taking advantage is that Andreas. And Danny Chu looks like he has pitted as well, just looking at it now. Danny Chu has done the pit stop. So, as we follow through now, Adam Sherpitt leading by a clear mile now, really getting away from it, setting good purple sectors over David Roger. Now, you'd expect Adam Sherpitt, as long as he can stay mistake-free, should I say, keeping within those lines on the pit exit, he will make that a final. As we're coming through now, through the back hairpin section, such a tough part of the track. If you make the wrong steering adjustments, you could end up losing all of your momentum and falling back through the order. And we're coming through now. It's 14 minutes to go in this race. So, whilst we're waiting in this period, what have we got to look forward to? So, at the moment, at the A final, Jim Paris is on pole, followed by Jarne Lims. Now, Jarne Lims spoke to him briefly during the sort of intermission between the sprint races and the finals. He was over the moon to be starting on that front row, but he knows there's a tough race ahead, and he knows that one small mistake, and drivers such as Nico Titch and Soren starting on that second row will be fighting with him. As we see a quick stop here from David Roger, complete stop and gets going, clean stop from David Roger. Fantastic to see drivers making a clean stop, fantastic to see them reading the briefing notes, and that's good, leaving on the exit, and he comes out ahead of Zach. So yeah, looking towards the front, you know, Matteo Infanti in that third row alongside Sam Cry, fantastic to see, and Baptiste van der Brinker will take a penalty for that contact on Peyton Fricker, and Peyton Fricker will go up a position because of that. In fact, he will go up just ahead of Baptiste van der Brinker, but surely they won't cause the same contact he did in that first race. Peyton Fricker, the driver, he was a pole sitter in the sprint race too, and now he unfortunately has to start all the way back in 10th. Now 9th position because of the penalty, so he has been promoted to 1, but now 9th and 1st isn't off the cards for Peter Fricker. We have seen some crazy race starts. Danny Chu massively overshoots the corner there, he gets into the wall because he overshot it. Adam Sherpitt, the leader, coming through now. As we see drivers just getting into the zone now, just getting into the sort of, the strategy part of the race now. 2 stops, quite a lot to do. As we see now George Iliev leaving the pit lane, and we see drivers such as Simon Gobert go past. Now Simon, will he understand that he has 2 stops to do himself? As they now go forward, George Iliev in a very unlucky position here where he's got nobody to tow off, and in fact he is catching Simon Gobert there, so he will have Simon Gobert to tow off, but you don't want to be going on your own in these races. You want somebody to follow, make sure you can get the best out of that slipstream. But we're almost halfway through this race now, 12 minutes to go. It's been an interesting final so far. You know, the race starts, we'd say, have been the most chaotic, but I would say very respectful. You know, for an online simulation, you know, it's easy for drivers to not care, but it looks like there's been a lot of race respect out there at the moment. As Adam Sherpitt does set a 1:04.430 for the best lap so far. Not sure that's going to be the best lap of the day at the moment, but Adam Sherpitt, he's got a fastest lap in him. As we're now seeing George Iliev catch up to Simon Gobert, and as they go through, there's a bit of space given there, but will he survive it? It does look like it. He goes to and he does it immediately. Pits actually after that. So let's follow him through the pit stop here. Will he come to once again a clean stop? Here's a good example of it. Comes in, swing to the right, comes to a complete stop. Very good, absolutely. That's his 2 stops done. So he will be now driving to the end as Saeed Hassan actually just goes past in front of him. Now another driver once again he can tow off. So that's fantastic to see from George Iliev. He has not been in free air, which is good for him, as he can now benefit off that. So, looking through the order at the moment, you know, there's a lot of pit stops to go, but Adam Sherpitt is the leader, followed by Diogo Rivo, who was the pole sitter, but he has dropped now. But there's a bit of strategy now. David Roger has already pitted, so we're going to see where Diogo does come out. Simon Gobert in third. So I think Simon will still take a result such as this. Saeed Hassan is up to fifth, but he looks like he hasn't stopped yet. George Iliev in sixth, but he has done his 2 stops, so he will be making his way up the order in this, absolutely. Mate Shepler. Now, Mate Shepler is a driver who almost had the win at Daytona Sandown, almost coming to a victory, but then crashing quite late on to that race and unfortunately didn't make it. He brought that back at Team Sport Liverpool with a fantastic B-final win there, and he even went on to make a few places in the A-final as well, scoring great points. But today, very unfortunate from him. As we see Ricky and Nathan, Ricky very frustrated from what I heard from Ricky so far, but surely it's been investigated at the moment. We'll have to look towards other race coordinators to make decisions, because of course I'm up here in the commentary box, so I can't make too many calls, but from what I've heard so far, everything's okay down on the floor. Very unfortunate from Zach. Got caught up in the race start, but he has made a few pit stops now, so maybe he'll be making his way up the order. We've got Danny Chu in 10th. Now, Danny Chu has made a few stops, so we'll see where he falls up the order. And finally, Andreas Lazardis on his debut, his ACK debut. Unfortunately so far, we see a bit of contact there on screen. The 2 drivers are fighting as we just go under the 10-minute mark. There's less than 10 minutes to go in this race. As we now go across the start, are they going to fight? It's a very bumpy section of track. We've seen it multiple times. They send it down the inside, and here we go again. And it's very bumpy. A good bit of contact looks okay, but he does give the room. Very good to see. As Saeed Hassan maintains position. Now, David Roger will be frustrated because I don't think Saeed Hassan has pitted. But David Roger now comes in for his last pit stop. This is David Roger's last pit stop. This is the question. Will he make the A-final with this stop? As he comes to that stop. It looks good. Yes, that's good. As we now leave the pit lane. So, he was together with Adam Sherbet before the start of his pit stops, and now he's 2 pit stops behind. So, will he catch up to Adam Sherbet? Could he win this race, in fact? At the moment, it doesn't look like it, because Adam Sherbet is setting fastest lap after fast lap as he just goes faster again with a 1 minute 4.276. Now, that could be a competitor for the fastest lap of the day. We did see Jim Parsons with a 1:04.1 in the sprint race, and he only did that in 5 minutes. So, that extra point is up for grabs, I would say, at the moment. Don't forget, drivers do actually achieve three points for a sprint race win and 2 points for a... So I'm just getting a message there from somebody in race control. Back on topic. You get 3 points for a sprint race win, with 2 points going to second place and 1 point going to third. So there are extra points, and Yanni Lammers will be very happy to take home those 3 championship racing points from the second sprint race. And Jim Paris is, of course, winning yet another sprint race. He will score more points once again, and that doesn't look good for Peyton Fricker either, because Peyton Fricker needs to win a sprint race to almost match Jim Paris in the championship. You don't want Jim Paris running away with this so early. But Peyton Fricker is only 9th. It's a doable objective to win this race, and anything can happen to Jim Paris if he doesn't win this race today. But he will still take those 3 points from the sprint race away with him at least. Only 7.5 minutes to go here, but Adam Sherbet is cruising as he just doesn't quite hit his fastest lap time, but he's within 1/10 of it, so he's pumping in the laps. Dave Roger only manages a 1 minute 4.6 as his best lap, so Adam Sherbet flying up ahead. We need to see, though, has David Roger done enough to actually make the A final, because he has fallen behind a little bit, and he has done a little bit of fighting with Saeed Hassan. That's very frustrating from him. As we're now on board with Simon Gobert, as he's going down straight, he's just towing off George Iliev nicely there. But this could become a 3-way battle for that last place spot in the A final if all goes right. So, just got 7 minutes of this race to go. It's a longer A final. It's a 25-minute A final. And, surely their arms are going to be very much aching after this race for Adam Sherbet and whoever also finishes to get into that A final. But, there are great points on offer. And, Adam Sherbet, he needs to salvage his championship, because at the moment, it's not good enough. He needs to score more points. At the moment, Adam Sherbet is 3rd place in this championship, and he's only 1 point off second in the championship, so he will be extremely disappointed as we see Adam Sherbet now coming for his first stop. This is where we're going to see it now. How far has he gone down the road compared to David Roger? Now he needs to come to a complete stop, and will he do so? Ooh, bit of oversteer there, but yes, that is clean. Clean move there. As we're just looking for David Roger, and he is quite far around the track. I don't think that's going to be good enough at the moment. You know what? David Roger is... I'm just trying to work out. I haven't worked it out yet, but I think George Iliev has 1 pit stop to go, and Simon Gobert. But David Roger is behind those 2 drivers. So as we get towards the end of this race, we're going to have to see if those drivers pit. And George Ilyev, he doesn't pit this lap. So at the moment, it's George Ilyev for second place, but we do believe him and Simon Gobert have got two pit stops, well, a pit stop each still to go. And David Roger is closely behind them. And if so, if that does happen, he will safely inherit second place. But we will see. Drivers are massively split up at the moment, and we just see a bit of grass action there from Zach as he comes on the final few corners. But there's very little groups going on. You've got Simon Gobert now holding up David Roger, but not holding up. He's only just caught him. That's the only battle right now going out on track. As we see, Danny Chu has come to the pit lane here. Maybe an early retirement there from Danny Chu. Unfortunate to see from him. Actually doing really well in the championship at the moment. He's currently up in 11th position in the championship, but today hasn't been his day, Danny Chu. Very unfortunate. If I remember correctly as well, that looking at the history books, he had a poor South Garda from season 1 as well. So maybe it's not one of his favourite tracks, I would say, but a fantastic performance last week at Teams Liverpool. So he'll be back soon, I'm sure. So we're coming through now. George Ilyev once again doesn't pit this lap. So at the moment, Danny Chu actually does start moving again. So it looks like he had an issue. But he is rejoining the race, 2 laps down. He does want to compete. It's fantastic to see. Hopefully he does get out the way for those drivers as he comes down back into the race. You'd have to hope that a driver in front DNFs now for him to score extra points. But, we do like Danny Chu. He's a fantastic driver on the series and a fantastic supporter of the series. So I'm sure he's out there just enjoying his time now. But he does join this little group as Dave Roger has gone past Simon Gobert now and he's well down the road. Adam Sherbet still setting, 104.5s at the moment. Not the greatest laps, I would say, but he knows the job is done basically here. He's done his 2 stops. He had in fact, no, he might have 1 stop. Yes, he does have 1 stop to go to Adam Sherbet, but he's in a clear lead at the moment. A good 11 seconds over Diogo Rivo, but it's still enough to take the lead in this race potentially with the laps he has been setting. So only 3 minutes to go here now. We are waiting for a few pit stop stills. George Ilyev does go off the track slightly there. George Ilyev did actually hit the wall. I just noticed Diogo Rivo does come out the pit lane and he goes ahead of George Ilyev there, but they were due to come together. It is interesting now. David Roger is on the back of George Ilyev now, so I need to see what happened with George Ilyev. Unfortunately, just hit the wall, it looks like, just overcooking it. That turn 4 is certainly an interesting corner. Now, at the moment, it's looking pretty safe for David Roger. I think Diogo Rivo has 1 more pit stop, and the same with George Ilyev. As David Roger is on the back of George Ilyev right now. Will he go for a move? It does. Andros Lanzadas does get out the way. Fantastic sportsmanship from him there. George Ilyev does sort of fight in there. Is this 4th position? We're not sure. We haven't got a pit stop counter. But we're going to sit on board now with David Roger, and look at this down the back straight, look at the slipstream. He should catch him. He does actually get a worse exit, so he doesn't look like he's going to catch him too quickly here. But there we go, look at that. There's the slipstream. It's powerful around this track, and that's what we're going to see lots of in this A final as they all fight for the lead. And now this is where drivers have been overcooking it because they take too much speed in this corner. And now he does again, George Ilyev, in fact, without the slipstream. And now this is David Roger. They're fighting. This could be 4th position, And this does take a lot of curb there. But, and George Ilyev does spin from that. It's hard to say. Just looking back at the replay, just trying to make sense of it. I would say, at the moment, just trying to review it. I'm not sure about that one. He definitely... In fact, yes, David Roger does get told to give position to George Ilyev there. That was a very, very brave move, I would say, from the driver. From the French driver, David Roger. Yeah, he just took the curb and put George onto it. Yeah, very unfortunate. Now, will David Roger give the back? Could this play into the hands of Diogo Rivo? Diogo Rivo could have his spot in the A final. George Ilyev, he lost a lot of time there. No, David Roger has come to a stop, or a very slow, and George Ilyev has to come from a long way back now to catch. And that's good. That's almost put Diogo Rivo now into the A final, I would say. Unfortunate from Dave Roger, but it was a very, how would you say it? A very confident move, I would say, going into that corner, and it wasn't enough. Unfortunately, that will be noted, and I'm sure it will be reported. As was now, let's fall on someone else. We're looking at the fighting. It's Ricky here, fighting with, I believe, Simon Gobert. Yes, and he does go down his side, and that's a much cleaner version of the move. Take a note right there, David Roger. That's exactly what you should be doing at that corner and not taking the curb. with only 1 minute left in this race now. Adam Sherbert, he's setting 1 minute 4s at the moment. Yes, so I'm just getting a note from race control. Yes, it looks like David Roger would have got the penalty even if he let Georgie there fall through. So Diego Arrivo will be the driver at the looks, as long as he doesn't have an issue that takes that spot in the A final. But Adam Sherbert, what can I say? He doesn't deserve to be here. He had a very unfortunate sprint race, getting caught up in a lot of contact, and he will be frustrated with that. Speaking to him just at the weekend, at a real event, he said he wanted, to do the best he can. He's only 1 point off second in the championship, but he's now going to fight his way through the back of that A final, and I'm sure he is going to be a driver that will be up there in the top, we call it 6 or 7 in that A final. So he is going to be a scary driver to get promoted through to this A final. And the A final is going to be a very stacked A final. Lots of fast drivers, I would say, through. He even has time here to possibly just slow down and wait for that timer to tick over to 0. But he looks like he isn't going to let it happen, or is he? Is this going to be the last lap? We don't know. And it was the last lap. Adam Sherbert does take the win right there. So Diogo Arrivo at the moment is now the next driver around, and he comes through. There's a driver lap down behind him. Diogo Arrivo is... yes, Diogo Arrivo is second. Diogo Arrivo is the driver that joins Adam Sherbert in the A final, as we're now waiting for some drivers. David Roger finally lets through George Iliev. Fantastic sportsmanship there. No penalty needed for David Roger. He will be frustrated with that move, but fantastic sportsmanship from David Roger. Fantastic there. Have to give him applause. Absolutely. Comes through in 4th. You still score good championship points no matter what. But we're seeing Ricky in 5th. Simon Gobert on his debut, finishing in 6th. Mate Sheplo in 7th, with Saeed Hassan coming home. Looks to be 8th, with Zach in 9th. Andreas Lazardis in 10th. And, Danny Chu, you have to feel for him. It looks like he had an issue earlier in the race. Finishes in 11th. So that's it from the B final today. We only have one race to go, and it's the best of them all. It's the A final, the fast final, whatever you want to call it. We'll be back in just a few minutes with that race. Hello everybody and welcome to the final everyone's been waiting for. It's the A final, it's the final we all want to watch. It's where the big championship points are given out. And we have once again a same situation with Jim Paris on pole, but a fantastic story with Jan Leymans, who thought he'd be nowhere near the front row, is starting in second. So we're here at South Garda for this final. You know, it's been an interesting set of races so far. I would say that a lot of contact in that first lap. Drivers need to be a lot more careful going to the grass section. We've seen multiple penalties, including Baptista van der Breggen, who loaded Peyton Fricker, the pole sitter of the second sprint race, out of the way, and now has been dropped to the back of the A final. He had a -4 position place penalty for his move. Peyton Fricker does get promoted there to 9th position. So, you know, some justice there, I would say, for Peyton, but he will be making his way forward, I'm sure, in this final. Jim Paris, though, will not get away as easy as he thinks in this race. You know, there's a lot of towing going on in these races at the moment, and a lot of fighting, I would say, as well. So, will he get the cleanest of starts? I'm not sure. But we're here. 20 seconds to go until the A final, the 4th race of the season. If you want to get involved with the ACK, please check all the links in the description below. We're a growing championship with more and more drivers every single round, and it's only going to get better and better as we head towards season 3 and beyond. But we're here. 6 red lights. The A final's about to start. Jan Leymans versus Jim Paris on pole. Who's going to get a better start? It's a good start. No drivers having the penalty, the jump start penalty. As we now lead, looks like actually one Dennis Comoides did get the penalty. He'll have to make his way forward. As we now go through, Jim Paris does get the lead. Jan Leymans very high up in the order. He is second in the championship, Jan Leymans, but he is being chased down by lots of drivers. As we now go through the first section of corners, coming through. It does look, there's a lot of contact at the back, a lot of grass contact at the back, in fact, as Jim Paris does stay in the lead there. A lot of a big dive there from Soren, but it looked like it was clean as they go through. Soren now up into 3rd, but for now, yes, he does stay there. As we see Nikotich go into 4th, as Sem does drop down and takes a bit of curb there with it, as Jim Paris goes to the lead. Jan Leymans, so fantastic to see, driving away with Jim here. He knows the job. He doesn't attack Jim too early, just pushes him along. As we see Soren now chasing down, and here's Jan Leymans following the current leader of the championship, and he's looking for his 3rd win in 4. As we come round now onto the backstretch to finish the first lap of this 25-minute race. Jim takes a bit more curve than Jan there, but this is where it comes back. Look at this down the backstretch. Look at that push. And it's going through, and he's pushing Jim forward there. He's not loading dirty. He is loading forward because he wants to go with Jim. Look at this. Fantastic teamwork here from the two of them. I'm sure they've agreed just to go forward here and get out of the way of everyone else. As we're seeing Harry Powers drop back, and he's fighting Dennis Comoides. Nikotich now is working with, so as we're seeing now pit stops. Here we go, early stops from Adam Sherpin now. Adam Sherpin, we expected to come in early, but he's going to make his way up the order. Adam Sherpin, complete stop. Yes, it's good, and goes on his way with Matteo Infantoni. Now they're going to want to work together here. It's Peyton Fricker now. We need to keep our eyes on Peyton Fricker. He looks like he is currently sitting in 6th position. Baptista van der Breggen does go off the track and has been hit, and now is slowly coming back to speed. But Peyton Fricker now sitting in a virtual, well, no, he's 6th position, but now Adam Sherpin, Matteo Infantoni have actually pitted, so, you know, we're not sure where he's going to slip out there. And now down the back straight, Jan Leymans once again is going to be pushing Jim, making sure they go together. Yes, he does. Great to see. No overtaking here yet. Jim Paris doesn't have to defend. He knows this is not for position. He has a little think about Jan, but I think he was just placing his car, just saying, come on, Jim, let's keep going. Better curb there, yes. Look at this pushing. This is exactly what it's all about. And does the early braking just to make sure he doesn't kill off Jim Paris into that corner. As now Soren is slightly catching these drivers, but it looks like Jan Leymans is playing the right game at the moment, just allowing Jim Paris to get on with it and get moving through this field. Soren is not too far behind though, I will say, as we come through. And we'll just look for pit stops here. Matteo does actually pit again with Dennis Comoides. So Matteo's done 2 stops. So Matteo Infante is going to be the driver who's done the double stop. So we're going to be watching him all the way through the rest of this race. Jan Leymans, though, now coming through. Speaking to Jan Leymans for this race, he just wanted a top 5. He's sitting in 2nd at the moment, but Soren is catching him down. The fastest lap off the race actually goes to Soren, as well as Jim Paris actually takes the fastest lap. Jan Leymans is towing off Jim, and Jim still gets the faster lap. That's how fast Jim's pushing. That's why it's worth sitting behind Jim Paris. He's learning off him, making sure that they go forward together. No pit stops yet, though. Would it benefit some drivers in the midfield here? Nico Titch doesn't pit either. Now Sem Cry over the line. Peyton Fricker, any pit stops? Nobody's pitting in the front at the moment. I did predict this. I predicted that a lot of drivers will be going really late to this race. As Baptiste Van der Breggen now across the line, across the pit line at least, doesn't pit. No, we're not seeing anything. Adam Sherpitt comes in though. Adam Sherpitt's the next driver, and he's going to be doing his second stop. Now, Adam Sherpitt, let's see where he comes out on Matteo Infanti. They're going to be racing together for the rest of the race, so hopefully that was the right decision. Adam Sherpitt exits the pit lane here, and it looks like Matteo will be the driver on the inside, does take the advantage for now, but we're going to be following that later into the race as Soren is slowly catching up to those two leaders. And Soren does take the fastest lap of the race with a 1:04.087. That's an extra point in the championship if he does achieve it as well. Let's not forget. Jan Lehmann's though, very smart from him. Very smart to be from the Championship League. You don't want to fight with him because if you bring Soren into this fight so early, it could be fireworks is the best way to put it at the moment. But we're seeing the order's being a bit split out now. No, Peyton Fricker's still sitting there in 6th position. Not making too many gains, not the fastest laps, only a 1:04.4 for his fastest lap, so he's currently 3/10 off the leaders at the moment, probably because he's not sitting as closely on Sem as he wants to. We're just looking back down the order so slightly here, and it's Gabe that comes to the pit lane. Gabe on his ACK debut here. Fantastic to see him in the A final. It looked like a really fast driver through the early phases of tonight, but comes to a stop, and he's going to come out behind Sherpitt and Infantani at the moment as we now go later into this race. Only 19, we're under 20 minutes to go. It's 19 minutes to go in this race. Let's look at the lap times they come across the line. Jim Paris with a 1:03.9, Jan Lehmann's 1:03.9, and Soren 1:04.0. So actually, Jim Paris and Jan Lehmann's move away on that lap ever so by it's nothing much. It's only a 10th, but they actually get further away from Jim Paris's. No, from Soren, should I say? As Nico Titch actually 2/10 down on Soren on the lap as well. So these two, they know the plan. They know what they're doing. But you have to think here as they go in together. If Jan Lehmann's just puts an alternate pit strategy, maybe goes a lap earlier or a lap later than Jim, maybe he could take the win here. As we've seen Adam Sherpitt now work with Matteo Infantani, we're not going to see a lot of favourite races next year. These two have both done their pit stops. They are working together. They would have no reason to be racing right now, and they are pushing along. It's almost, and this is why we love this mod, and this is why we thank Pierre Legio for such a great mod, because how closely these drivers can race and how realistic they can push each other along is commendable, and it's commendable to see this mod do so well. If you want to get the mod, check the description down below, because Pierre Legio has done such a fantastic job and he's always improving this mod as time goes on. But we're seeing these two drivers closely race, closely move up the orders. We're seeing Peyton, we just moved on with Peyton Fricker. Peyton Fricker's finally caught Sem, and he's on the back of him now. Now, will these two fight? They have a chance at a podium, I would say, at the moment, but they're a bit far. They're in no man's land right now. They're not exactly at the back of the field, and they're in a great point scoring position as we now see Peyton Fricker in for his first stop. This is where we're going to start to see the strategy come out. So Peyton Fricker's in, and he's going to have to do the fast right-hander, and he comes to us. Oh, it's a big lock up there. He's locked up. He didn't straighten the wheel properly, and now he's going to suffer with that. Sem will be very happy to see that happen. As we now go back to Sherpitt and Infantani at the moment and say, ooh, he hits the curb, and now Sherpitt has to go through. He almost has to make the overtake. They don't want to slow down. He doesn't want to load the back of him into a wall there, so Sherpitt had to make the overtake. And now surely they'll go back to just sitting in line, make sure all it works. By the way, in that Peyton Fricker pit stop, he does actually come out about 5 seconds down the road from Sherpitt and Infantani. But it looks like, from the moment, I'll calculate, because of that slide, he'll fall out behind Sherpitt and Infantani at the moment. So they're actually going to make a position at the moment. We're watching now, though. Jan Lehmann's the smartest driver I'd say on the field right now, just pushing along Jim. This is fantastic racing at the moment, because they're not racing at all. This is almost a practice session to them. They know what they're doing, and they're moving along with it. So they're going to score some fantastic championship points because of that. We're at the moment the fastest lap of the day, going to Matteo Infanti with a 1:03.791. Wow, fantastic to see. Only 6 drivers hit the 1 minute 3 club yesterday in testing, and at the moment, though, 5 of those 6 drivers are into that. The only driver not there at the moment is Peyton Fricker, as Peyton Fricker only managed a 104.102, but he hasn't had any drivers to tow off, as Baptista van der Brinker does actually come out ahead of Sherpit and Infante, but he's got one more stop to go, I believe, so it's not too important for him at the moment. At the moment, though, it looks like Peyton Fricker, will fall behind this little group of Van der Brinker, Sherpit, and Infante. As now, we're just following the 2 leaders. Look at this. Look how close they can race. What a fantastic bit of racing so far, I would say, from everybody. What a mod as well, I wouldn't say, from Pierre Ligier. How close these drivers can sit. And, everything so far has been very enjoyable about this race, I would say. As now, we come round. It's only 15 minutes to go, and I say only 15. You've got to start thinking about your pit stops here, as we just falter back now and see Gabe defending from Harry Power. Or has he been slightly offline? But now they go down the straight. Are these 2 drivers fighting, or are they trying to move forward? It's amazing to see just drivers in little packs, just little groups, just fighting. And actually, this looks like defending to me. Is he going to go to the inside here? And we're seeing Harry Power to the outside. Harry Power getting quite frustrated behind him. We are seeing defending here. This is for position. And at the moment, down the inside, yes, Gabe is defending here hard. As the driver's coming out the pit lane, that looks to me like Baptista van der Brinker, who's finished his 2 stops now. Is this full position? More defending there from Gabe. He is white lining it, as I said earlier. White lining is I'm not sure if it's a term familiar with so many people on the stream, but it's a familiar term, at least in the UK karting, when a driver just puts it on the inside on that white line and he doesn't leave it, and he drives the whole inside of the track. But let's move back towards the front. So we actually have a pit stop from Soren. Soren has pitted. He comes to the stop, and he does. That looks good to me. Absolutely looks good. Now Soren, will he come out in any sort of traffic? Here comes Sem round the final corner. Sem actually goes ahead of Soren ever so slightly there, side by side. Will this slow them down? Has this worked in Jan Lehmann's and Jim Paris' favour? As they had to fight, they had to take a slower line. Are they going to fight now? Are they going to fight for who wants to get third? Has this turned into a race for 3rd position in the race as the top 2 get away? Jan Lehmann's will be egged on here to make sure that he just gets on with it. Nico Tisch has a bit of curb in there, I would say, from Soren. He's probably getting very frustrated with this. Now, Nico Tisch is the driver who has fallen away. Nico Tisch will be in a frustrating position here. He actually dropped 3/10 again on that last lap to the leaders, purely because he just can't get the speed. He hasn't got the toe needed to get through this race at the moment. So he will be extremely frustrated with this. He can feel the time just falling away. But we still got plenty of time in this race now to see what sort of overtakes we can get. So, let's recap. Jim Paris is in Jan Lehmann to the lead. I believe we got Nico Tisch in that 3rd position, no stops from the top 3. But then we got Diogo Rivo, who hasn't stopped either, but he is quite a way behind, I would say, to make a chance at that top 3. Pierre Ligier de Sante, quite an unlucky day from him so far. He will be quite frustrated, I would say, with his position at the moment. He's a front runner in the championship. He's only 5th position in the championship with a fantastic 137 points. But we'd expect a little bit more from him, I would say. The real loser, I would say, at the moment, drivers such as Said Hassan. Said Hassan only sitting 7th in the championship, but he hasn't made the A final this time. So it's going to be definitely a drop round we're looking at for Said Hassan, as he only made the mid-pack of the B final this race. And we're seeing Harry Power rejoin the track. Now, this could be a problem. Harry Power, he does get out the way for Jim Paris. Will he do the same for Jan Lehmann's? Yes, he does. Very good sportsmanship there. Thank you, Harry Power. Thank you, indeed. As we see these 2 leads now, Jim Paris does look like he's getting slightly ahead there, I would say, of Jan Lehmann's. Would he be able to get back? As we see, we're now on board with, I believe that is Sem, and he is catching Soren. But, again, they're not really working together there. He needs to get a little bit closer to Soren if he wants to benefit from that toe and keep pushing forward. As Soren now is on a mission. Matteo Infantani and Adam Sherpit could come into this race now as they both have double stop, and they're just pushing along together on the last lap. Them 2 drivers, Adam and Matteo, the 2 fastest drivers on the track by over 2/10 to the leaders, in fact. So they are flying along, I would say, at the moment, and it's great to see. As we now follow through. Nikotic unfortunately falls off again from the leaders with 3/10 that lap to Jim Paris's Nikotic. He just cannot get the toe. Would it benefit him to pit? And Nikotic does pit, in fact. He must be listening to the live stream because he has pitted. So where's this going to bring him out? Will he go ahead of Soren? This is going to be a close one. As Soren comes down the back straight, it looks like all that fighting has affected Soren because Nikotic comes out with a safe third place. It's safe, I would say, at the moment. Fantastic to see. But Diogo Rivo actually goes up into third position, but we're not sure what the status of Diogo is because, you know, he did come through from the B final, but I think he's a driver who hasn't stopped. I believe he is one of the, essentially, the leaders of this race, but he will fall back with his 2 pit stops. Now, based off the distance between Nikotic and Soren, you would say at the moment, I think this is a safe Paris and Jan Lehmann's 1-2 at the moment. But can Jan Lehmann, is he thinking about the win? You know, this is the point now. 10 minutes to go. Are we going to see a fight for the win? Are we going to see Jan Lehmann potentially go early? Are we going to see, is Jim going to go right to the end? We're not sure. And don't forget, these drivers have to do their pit stop within the 10 minutes because when it's the last lap, it's over. They'll finish last. So we're expecting these drivers to come in, I'd say, in the next 5 or 6 laps. It'd be interesting to see the sort of strategy that plays out. But at the moment, it seems like it's a safe third from Nikotic, as Soren did get held up on the pit exit fighting with Sem. But they are both pushing together now. Let's face it, top 5 in any of these races is a fantastic result. So even to not be in the top 3, they still score fantastic championship points. And in turn, they will be up the order in that championship, I'm sure. As we now see, this is Sem working with Soren. They are working together. They need to rethink their strategy a little bit here, or they're just going to fight for 4th. As we now join Jan Lehmann, still pushing along Jim Paris. This has been much the story of this whole race so far. They are just working together. He knows the task, Jan Lehmann, and he does fall off Jim a little bit there. But look at the slipstream to come back on him. Fantastic though from Jan Lehmann to stay in such a good position on Jim Paris. The championship leader. You'd have to really, and he does in fact take the fastest lap in the last lap, Jan Lehmann, with a 1:03.768, which, looking at that, if he does score the fastest lap of the day, he actually scores the same amount of points as Jim Paris's. But Jan Lehmann's, in fact, he does, because they both scored, they both won their sprint races. They get 3 points, and Jim Paris's will get that extra point for winning the event. But then if Jan Lehmann gets the fastest lap, they actually draw. So you would say at the moment that Jim Paris's, is it better to stay behind Jim Paris? You don't really lose anything from finishing that position. But we're now into the last 8 minutes of this race. We need to see a few more stops at the moment. We're following this race. We're waiting for the Nikotic, Soren and Sem to sort itself out at the moment. Peyton Fricker, though, looks like he's still a fair way behind. It's going to be close, I'd say, from Peyton Fricker. Peyton Fricker actually does fall. Peyton Fricker, in fact, he has pitted again, just recatching this, and Adam Sherpitt is in that position. Matteo Infanti is actually fallen behind quite a lot on Adam Sherpitt. It looks like there's been an issue there somewhere. Maybe he took a bit too much curb and went flying off, we're not sure. But we're now following Sem and Soren now as they go down the back straight. These guys now, they know what the job is, and this is a pit stop from Diogo Riva. This is his first stop. This is where he's going to drop down the order. Looks like he is going to come out side by side. No, Pierre Ligiou does actually pit, so he's not going to go out side by side. And I believe Diogo has one more pit stop to go, which will be coming soon, I'm sure. As now we're looking at the order. Peyton Fricker just in a world of his own at the moment. His last lap time, Peyton Fricker, 1:04.411. So it just goes to show, without that toe, there's not a lot you can do really in this. There's not a lot you can do in terms of your lap times. You need the driver behind just pushing you along, and that driver behind just sticking their car right behind you and just making sure they've given you that extra. Well, it looks like at the moment it's pulling 4 to 5 tenths a lap, which is exactly what they need to go forward. That's exactly what these two drivers on the screen are doing. So as we head through, we're now waiting on the pit stops from the leaders, and we have to now question, there's a big move there, a bit of curb as well. But he does go ahead, but no, Soren does maintain position, I would say. There was no change there. Yes, Sem does stay in 5th. I'm just seeing a few notes about contact, but that's because the drivers are hitting each other. Pierre Ligiou now is fighting Matteo now. This looks like this is a fight for position, as Pierre Ligiou does try to go to the inside, doesn't make it work. Matteo now down the back straight, going down the back straight. What will happen here? And they stick in position. Looks like they still need to go ahead. We're waiting there. I'm just trying to study as I speak out loud here. Um, what is the status of these two leaders and what are they going to do? We're expecting will Jarno Leemans go for the alternate strategy? At the moment, it's looking like a safe second place, but you'd love to see it if one driver came in earlier than the other and they actually had a fight for the win. That's something you'd love to see, but I'm not sure it's going to happen at the moment because Jarno Leemans is happy in that position. But what I have to report is Jim Paris actually has the fastest lap of the race now. So that means Jim Paris will actually go 2 points ahead of Jarno Leemans in the scoring from today's race at least. So now this doesn't play into hands of Jarno Leemans at all. Now this might actually benefit him to take the lead of the race. As we see Soren coming for his last stop, goes quite late, but he looks like it was good. It was very close. And Peyton Frick is going to come out alongside here, Soren. But what's it going to be? It looks like Soren's going to maintain the lead for now, but Peyton Frick has got the momentum. And it looks like these two drivers are going to have to work together, absolutely. Yeah, Soren does get up to speed just fine. As we're now following Jim Paris and Jarno Leemans. Will there be any pit stops on this side? They're going past the pit stop now. Will anybody come in? What are we going to see here? We do see them go together. Oh, we're not seeing an alternate strategy at the moment. And Jarno Leemans now. Will he get a clean stop? And he doesn't want to load Jim Paris here. They do stop together. I would say that was okay. And Jarno Leemans just pushed Jim forward. Perfect. Good to see. Yes, so now they both have only one stop remaining. And at the moment, it looks like we're still not sure where Soren is going to drop into this mix because Nicotic hasn't made the gains we thought he would have made at the moment. So I think this is going to be a big fight for third coming towards the end of this race at the moment. But we're just waiting now for the last few pit stops. Diogo Rivo is in for his last stop, and now he's going to come out alongside Matteo Infantani, I believe. No, he does come up ahead, and if that's true, then he's done a fantastic move there, coming from the middle of the B final straight through to the middle of the A final. Now, that would be a brilliant result for Diogo, and fantastic to see. As now our two leaders, and Jarno Leemans does now push Jim forward again. Now, this is the question now. Will Jan go for a different strategy to Jim? Jim, will he go early or will he go late? What will be the preference here? As drivers just start pitting, and they don't pit now, Jim. And they're going to go for another lap, and time is running out if Jarno Leemans wants to go for that alternate strategy, or will he do it on track? As surely Nicotic does go with them as well. We're seeing a bit of fighting on the back straight there. There's Soren, yes, that is Soren on Seb, and Peyton Fricker and Adam Schirper are now coming into this fight. As now they come around the back straight. Now we're starting to see drivers maybe no longer they're going to be working together. This is where we're going to see, 3 minutes to go. You want to be maybe one of the leaders. This spot for third is definitely a big question mark at the moment. Who's going to finish third in this race? I'm not too sure. As we come through the middle part of this track, we're seeing Paris's and Leemans are coming onto the back straight now. They're going to start. It's about 3 laps to go in this race. So here's the question now. As we see lots of racing there, a bit of grass from Sam. Soren and Sam, they've been together all race, and now it's starting to get a little bit fighty. You would say that they're starting to get a little bit impatient behind the driver there. As we now come round, Soren does take a bit of curb there. That's going to affect another straight. As we see Paris and Leemans, they're in the pits, but they go in together. Now that's disappointing in some ways, but Jim overshoots it, but he does come to a stop. I would say that's going to be interesting. Jim does stop outside the box. Now we're gonna have to refer to what people think about that one. If he did come to a complete stop, I would say, as Nicotic actually does also leave the pit lane, he's in a safe third position here, Nicotic. So if Nicotic can just keep driving now for the next 2 minutes, he will be ahead. Jim Paris though, will we see an overtake on track now for this lead? Jarno Leemans, will he trust Jim Paris? He's out in a clear lead here. He looks like he has about 6 seconds. In fact, there's Nicotic. So the current gap, I'm just trying to study it. Yes, it is 6.9 seconds to the leaders. So this is the gap Jarno Leemans has got now. Will he go for a last lap dive? Will Jim Paris still has the fastest lap here? We're going to start to see drivers battle now, so I'm expecting fastest laps to not come through here. As we now go down the back straight, will Jarno Leemans think about it? He doesn't. keeps pushing his driver in front forward. And now, bit of a bad sort of exit there from Jim. Goes half defensive, but goes back onto the racing line. Trusts that Jan's not going to go for it yet. As it looks like at the moment, it's going to be one more lap after this. Look at the timing. Minute and a half on the clock. Looks like it's going to be one more lap we're going to get of racing here at South Garda. So as we go through, Harry Power up ahead. Harry Power looks like he's going to be caught, and Jan Leemans, he has a little think about it. He doesn't quite make it, and he doesn't make it stick. No, he goes through, and we're going now down to the hairpins. There's going to be one more race. Does Jan Leemans want to be in the lead for the hairpins? No, he doesn't. As we're going to go now for one more race, one more lap, should I say, of racing. Nico Titchmart has just had before this last lap. Nico Titch in a safe third place, Soren in fourth. Dem is in fifth, Adam Sherpitt up to sixth. Now that is unbelievable from Adam Sherpitt from starting last. We got eighth, we got Diogo Rivo, Matteo Infantani in ninth. And here we go. This is the last lap. Now, will Jan Leemans go for that win? Jim Paris is with the fast lap. That looks like he's not going to change at the moment because no drivers are working together here. As we come down the back stretch, Jan Leemans doesn't go for it into the hairpin, and that's interesting. He falls away ever so slightly there on Jim Paris. It's the last lap of the race now. Surely he's going to think about it to the hairpins. Here we go. Jan Leemans, is he thinking about a move here? That's the question. He's already scored fantastic points today. He will be happy with this, I'm sure. All drivers now on their last lap, apart from Harry Power. Harry Power just in front. Jan Leemans now, will he go for a dive here? He's too far back, really. And Jim Paris is, heading towards his fourth win. We said it wasn't going to be easy for him today. It hasn't been easy, but he's definitely had the protection, I'd say, from Jan Leemans. And Jan now doesn't go for the move. So at the moment, it's looking like as long as he gets a better exit, Jim Paris takes the win, and he takes his third win from 4 races. Fantastic from Jim and Jan Leemans. Second place. He must be so happy with that result. As Nico Titch comes third, Soren in fourth. Dem fifth, fantastic run. Adam Sherpitt, what can I say about Adam? The fantastic Adam Sherpitt in sixth. Unbelievable result from him. With Diogo finishing seventh, Matteo in eighth. And we got Peyton Fricker. Disappointing performance from Peyton Fricker there, unfortunately, but comes home ninth. With Pierre Ligeot in 10th, Baptiste van der Breggen following the penalty, finishing in 11th. With Gabe coming across the line with Dennis Logwitz to finish 12th. 13th from, Dennis Logwitz, and last place, unfortunately, but he made the 8th final. He will be happy, is Harry Power. Well, what a race, what can I say? More racing action. The slipstream definitely made an impact, I'd say, in that race, but we saw some unbelievable racing. So, once again, as ever, I just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for watching the live stream. It is much appreciated. Please come and get involved if you want to race. If you want to challenge these winners and get into these A finals and challenge these racers, they're here for you to race. It is so easy to sign up. Just head to the Discord and get involved there, and we'll hopefully see you on the grid soon. But I just want to say once again, thank you so much to Dunica for the production today. Thank you so much to the background team, the race stewards such as Yane himself, Baptista, Pierre Ligeot for the kart, and of course Victor Stanchev for all the help with the bots and coding. So thank you so much, everybody, and I'll see you all in a few weeks' time for round 5, as we've already hit the halfway point of the season. But it's been a fantastic one so far. So thank you, everybody, and I'll see you soon.